What is climate? It's not what the weather was last week. Climate refers to long-term weather patterns stretching back over many years. So when climate scientists talk about climate change, they're talking about the interaction of a multitude of naturally occurring factors. The temperature of the sea and air currents, the coverage of ice sheets over the globe, volcanic eruptions, and so on. So it's been great for us that the climatic conditions that we currently enjoy have been stable for the last 12,000 years or so. It's these conditions that allowed our ancestors to drop their nomadic hunter-gatherer existence. They developed agricultural practices that produced a consistent source of food in one place. From these humble beginnings, civilizations began to grow. How we get around today represents many steps forward in comforts and conveniences. Much of this improved lifestyle has occurred in the last 200 years and has run off the back of burning fossil fuels, coal, oil and gas. Climate scientists have become increasingly aware that this extra carbon dioxide is now at levels never experienced by humans before. As the impacts become clearer and clearer, is it finally time to reconsider the way we generate our energy?
So last week we used this experiment to explore the atmosphere of Venus, and we saw the effect of increasing the carbon dioxide, what it had on the temperature. And we're going to do that today, but thinking about Earth.
Michael, how did you go about planning for this class?
Well, we've been exploring solar system and the planets, and we started to look at some of the resources, the worksheets and the information on the Cool Australia website. And we're going to drop in one of these fizzy pills. Now, when these fizzy pills drop in there, they give off carbon dioxide, and we can see if this has an effect. And in it goes, fizzing away, carbon dioxide.
Climate change is a difficult concept for children to grapple with. What's your technique when teaching this?
I'd like them to become critical thinkers. I'd like them to question the evidence on both sides. So we're going to turn on this lamp, which will stand for the sun. Now, what we should see is the temperature starting to rise as the heat from the sun heats the bottles and heats the gas inside.
So what causes the CO2 to go into the air?
Carbon dioxide can come from petrol, it can come from factories. When we breathe out carbon dioxide. But since we've been cutting down trees, the trees that breathe in carbon dioxide aren't able to do that anymore because they're made into paper or things like that.
Even though it doesn't seem like we're doing much harm, we actually are doing a lot of harm to the environment.
And Michael, why do you feel it's important to teach kids about critical thinking?
I think it's a very important life skill to have. They're going to be bombarded with all sorts of information, and they need to be able to make sense of it.
So how can we reduce the amount of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere?
Switching from fossil fuels to something like solar energy.
The government, I think they'd say that we are investing money in alternative energy sources.
And I know Alyssa actually did say this the other day. They might think no, because they actually quoted facts.
I understand you guys are doing a planning session today. Can you tell us what it's about?
The grade sixes have been doing a lot of work around climate change, and we have decided as part of the inquiry that at the end we'll have a debate, really looking at the big idea of are we doing enough to address climate change.
And how have you linked it back into the curriculum?
We've linked it through our unit on natural disasters. So we looked at why natural disasters occur and whether it was patterns in the climate or patterns in weather.
So I know a few of the kids were interested in talking about, even are we causing climate change? So
they might think, yes, we are doing enough, because they might think that there's not evidence yet to support that humans are causing it.
That it might just over the years, it's just a natural cycle.
But that's where I think at this stage, they've all been involved in inquiries. They're all asking the questions, they're looking for the answers, And to make a valid answer, they really do need to look at the facts.
And they get information from parents.
And I think that's why when we're looking at the Cool Australia website, you've got the selected articles and the movies, but those fact sheets as well.
So we want them using trusted sites, and this site here is really easy to get information from.
Why is it important that the kids have an understanding of climate change?
Well, I think it's not just for their own education. They do go home and educate their families and the wider communities, and they are the next lot of global citizens.
These buildings weren't here when I first started. We had a lot of portables and Bristol buildings, so they were very different to this open plan style of classroom. The school was given a lot of money through the Building Education Revolution scheme, and the school council and the school community were involved in designing energy efficient buildings.
And why is it important for a school to have an energy efficient building?
Well, first of all, it saves on costs for the school, so the money saved can be then spent on educational facilities, for the children. Also, it's very important in today's day and age to educate children about sustainable features, and we do that a lot in prep. So one of my pet peeves is having people in freezing cold air-conditioned rooms, wearing jackets. It's just
absolutely.
So teaching the kids to self-regulate is really important, and really works naturally with this environment.
Hi, I'm Sophie and this is my dad, and we are stringing beans. I like being out in the garden because it's good to be able to get my hands dirty, and we get to grow our own plants and use them in our cooking.
So behind me is our fire. It's the only source of heating, but if we are still cold or feel that we need to get warm, we just put on some more clothes.
So pretty much we are trying to minimise our impact on the environment and just doing little things like turning off the lights and having less electric heating in the house. It's just my little way to chip in and help and stop climate change.
It's great to know so many kids and adults are taking action to tackle climate change, because the time for talk is surely over. If we want to continue to enjoy a climate that allows for life as usual, then we must change. It must be human change. Can we leave behind our 19th century technologies and attitudes to the natural world? Can we accept our responsibilities and successfully transition to a clean energy economy? Will we continue to destroy, or can we learn to change? The choice is ours.